This video is in association with Coastal Response Roleplay. If you want to see how the script ends up, then please join in the link description below. Hello people, how's it going? It's Mitch here, and what we're going to do is we're going to start having a look at developing a Lifepak system. For those of you who don't know, Lifepak is something that the medical team carries around with them, and they can assess things like oxygen levels, heart rate, all of that stuff. Sometimes they have an automatic defibrillator in there as well to assist them with things like cardiac arrests, and we're going to make that within FIVEM. Within Coastal Response, which is where this resource is going to be used, we try and prioritize creating stuff from scratch and for ourselves rather than buying things off of some sort of FiveM store, purely because we give some originality to the scripts and we can edit them in the future if we need to. With that said, I'm also going to use today as some sort of way to try and help anybody that wants to come and sort of start developing and see how we do things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my Visual Studio over here, and I'm actually going to go in FileZilla, which is a resource that I use to be able to go into the file system of our actual server. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a directory and enter it. I'm going to call this Lifepak. Cool, that's that done. I'm also, just while I'm here, going to create an fxmanifest.lua, a stream, because I know I'm going to have to stream some resources, so some models and things like that, to the game. What else? I need, oh, I didn't want to enter it. I need client and server. Cool. So, if you have a look at any of my scripts before, I wonder if it's actually in these props tests. Okay, so I have very similar things in here, and I would actually split up all of my different resources into a certain way. Just so, if I need to go in and have a look again, I can go and work with that. Okay, so now we've got that. What I do is I use an FTP plugin on the Visual Studio Code. It's called FTP Simple, and I use a remote connection, and I go Coastal Response Development because that's where I'm editing it. And it's in the dev folder, and it's in Lifepak. And there we go. We have it all there. Cool. Okay, so for today, we're going to be using these models. This is from GTA5mods.com, and we're going to be using them in order to sort of help us, just because we don't need to create the assets, we just have them, because I cannot create assets. And that's just something that I haven't learned to do. I'm more text-based. So yeah, we're going to use this. We're going to use this Lifepak here. Now you guys see that, you might realize what Lifepak does if you didn't already. But that's what we're going to do. So what I've done is I've gone into the DLC RPF file when taking out these. I've edited this YTYP file from inside OpenIV and just removed everything that didn't reference the Lifepak 15. So I did that just off screen because it would have been very boring. It's basically just an XML file in a funky format. So let's write this. Let's write this code here. So the fxmanifest.lua, if you guys don't know already, this is basically what tells the FiveM script what to run, what files do I need to look at, who's the author, what is the description, what version of the game. So I'm just going to copy this from a different resource, and so it's version 1.0.0. Description is going to be example resource. I can change that to Lifepak resource for medical services. The author's pending Mitch, that's me. So we have our client and server scripts. We need to just tell GTA or FiveM what we want to direct them to in terms of the assets that we're using. So we're going to direct them to the ytyp file, and the way we're going to do that is just going to give it data file, and it's going to be dlc ityp request, and it's going to be stream slash emsprops.ytyp. There we go. So that's just saying, hey, you can look in this file. You can't read it like this, but I'll put in like a little screenshot of what it looks like, and it just gives information about the resource, the asset that we're going to be using. Okay. So what do we need to spawn a Lifepak in, basically? So I'm going to spawn.lua, and what do we need? So we need to spawn the object, set it on the set it on the ground, yeah. But something we need to do before that is get the coordinates to spawn the object. Oh god. Get the heading to set the object to. Okay. So spawn the object at coords. We'll set the heading. Okay. That's all we really need to do. So if we do function spawn Lifepak. Okay. And we're just going to close that function. So if we look at the FiveM native here, and I will just I will put this up on the side just so we can have a look at it if we need to. We need to just basically get the coordinates of the player. So we'll get the entity coords, and it actually tells us how to get that actually. So I'm just going to copy this. And instead of get player ped, we can just do player ped ID, like that. Okay. So we've got the coordinates. I'm just going to do a check mark there. There we go. Get the heading to set the coordinates. Okay, that's fine. So all we need to do is we just need to get, so local player heading equals get entity heading ped. Okay. Then we need to create that object. Okay. I'm just going to give it a variable name just so we can reference it later within our code in case we need to delete it or things like that, which we'll probably have to, especially if we want to keep checking this resource. So what we'll do is we will create an object. Okay. And then if we go to create object in here, oh, you can't see that at all. What if I zoom out? There we go. Create object. Okay, so it takes the model hash and the X, Y, Z is network, net mission entity, and door flag. Okay. So the model hash. So let local model hash equals get hash key, and it's the model name, which is Lifepak 15, I think. Yeah, the model name is it may be different to this name, I'm pretty sure, but because it's the same in the YTYP, you have to look into that. Then it'll be all good. Okay, so we can put that model hash in there now. Okay. One thing else we could do is the coordinates. So that's player coords 1. What I would prefer for the X at least. So what I would prefer is local X, Y, Z equals table.unpack player coords. Basically, what it does is the first item in this list, it'll be X. The second item in this list will be Y, and the third will be Z. So now I can do X, Y, Z, and it looks better. Is network, we're going to set to true so other people can see it. Net mission entity, I'm not actually sure what this would do, so I'm just going to set it to false for the moment. And door flag. So forced to create a door archetype. Archetype flag bit 26 set as a door. I'm not entirely sure. We don't want to create doors around that, so that's fine. Okay. So now we have that prop. I'm just going to keep a props dictionary here. So props equals, sorry, not a dictionary, a table. And we're just going to do props or table.insert. And we're inserting into the list props. And we don't want a position. And it'll just be a value of prop. Okay. We'll just format the code and save it, just so it saves it. Okay, so what have we done? We've gotten the heading. We've spawned the object at the coordinates. We haven't done either of these two though. What we can do is add it to table to delete or to manipulate later. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the entity heading. And just off the top of my head, it takes the entity and then the heading. So we can just, yeah, that's fine. So we can just do prop and player heading. So from previous testing, I know that the player heading will make it so the Lifepak is facing towards us. Just because that's how that's made. Okay, cool. If we wanted to, I'm pretty sure we could just add 180 and then, or maybe, probably be safer to do it as a float. And then if player heading is larger than 360, then just take away 360. So we've set the entity heading. Okay. Now we need to set it on the ground. And the way we do that is place on, or place object. Wow, I can't type. Object on ground properly. So there we go. And it takes just the object. So set object, place object on ground properly, prop. Cool. And what we are going to do is I'm just going to freeze the entity position, I think, in case someone kicks it over. We don't want them to kick it over. So freeze entity position. It'd be prop and then true. And we'll just also set it invincible. Set entity invincible. And it'll be prop and true. Okay. Just to save us some resources, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it local model equals Lifepak 15. We're going to replace this with model. And just before we insert it into the table, we'll set model was no longer needed. Okay, and model. Cool. So we've done all of that. And I'm just going to update this just to keep in mind what I've done. Cool. So we will spawn a Lifepak in, or should spawn a Lifepak in, whenever we call this function. Before I'm going to test it though, I'm going to just think about some future testing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an event handler for onResourceStop. So I know from using props previously that if I restart a resource that's streaming that asset and I stop it, it just closes. So we're going to create an event handler, and it's going to be called onResourceStop, and basically that will be called whenever any resource is stopped. So resource name. What we want to do is we want to check whether the get current resource name is equal to the resource name. And the way we're going to do that is we're just going to check whether it's not equal to. And then I'm going to return if it is. Okay? So the way the return works is that it will stop a function from continuing and just stop it completely. So I now know that anything in here is just this resource. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to just do a for loop, and I don't really need the index. But I like doing it this way. I don't know whether it's affecting its performance or not. But for props, in pairs of props, do. And I want to delete the object. So I think it's just delete object, prop. And sorry, for prop in props. There we go. And then we save that. So now, whenever we restart this resource, it should delete all of the props before, and then it will stop. Okay, and then after that, what we need to do is create a command to spawn the Lifepak in. So we'll just register a command, and I'm just going to call it Lifepak. The handler is going to be, and we don't need a restriction, the handler is going to be spawn Lifepak. And actually, because this is the function in itself and it doesn't take any parameters, so we don't really need this function here, but it's nice to have it in case I want to print something or something like that in the future. Right, okay, so the reason why it doesn't work is because I didn't put in the right directory for this EMS props thing. So let's refresh our resources because we've changed something. Supposedly we have. Okay, well, we'll start Lifepak up again. There we go. Now it's there. Okay, so, yeah, we fixed that now. And we know it's invincible and it doesn't move now. Cool. That's great. Now, what we need to do is we need to give it some sort of offset because, you know, this here spawning right underneath our feet is not good. We need to do an offset from our player. So, instead of getting the player coords, we want to get offset from entity in world coords. Okay, and I don't know why it's done that, but anyway, we want to do the PED. We want to do 0, 0. The Y is 1.0, and the offset in Z is 0.0. Now that should give it a little bit of distance in front of us. So if we restart that, there you go. Just a little bit of distance. Cool. Thank you guys for watching. I will be continuing to make this Lifepak into something that's more alive and more features to it. And I've got some already lined up for you. I'm just waiting so that we can split it up into more digestible chunks. So if you want to continue seeing this, then make sure you subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video and it helped you, please share it. Currently, we're trying to grow as a community, and it would be great if you can join. Again, the link is in description. But thank you for watching, and have a great day.